faking. Chris, I feel like we haven't done a show together in a long time.
I do feel like it's been a minute. How are you? You look terrific. How is your Thursday morning going?
It's early and I have a packed day, so we'll ask me in 6 hours.
I, for one, have coffee going. Things only get better once I start getting coffee on board, Stephanie. Honest question, I don't think I've ever asked you this. How many cups of coffee do you drink a day?
None.
What?
I drink tea.
Okay, green tea. Do you drink caffeinated tea?
No, not green tea, just tea.
You drink no caffeine?
It's caffeine.
So there is caffeine in your tea?
Yes.
Okay, do you drink 16 glasses of tea a day?
No. See, here's the thing. I used to drink a lot of coffee until like last year. And I find that I go really crazy on the caffeine. I can have like 1 glass per day and then that's it. And now with the tea, I don't get quite as much of a...
So I see what you're implying here is that my craziness is just the subject of my caffeine addiction. It has nothing to do with my actual personality defects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's good to know.
So I got a tattoo yesterday.
You did? Tell me.
Literally. Like, look, I got it.
Oh, I thought this was the dad joke. Oh, that's amazing. What a beautiful tattoo.
So this is the profiles of my kids in the stem.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's really cool.
And then tiger lilies, they have some meaning. But it made me think like you could get a tattoo as well on your head of rabbits. Because from afar, it would look like hairs.
That's pretty good. Also, I love that Jason, our guest, is also bald. So we get to just stare at you and, that's pretty good. Pretty good dad joke. I like it.
Yeah.
Good dinner.
But yes, I got my first tattoo and now I want to go back to today to get more. I'm addicted.
It's addicting. It's addicting. I'll tell you. Hey,
what makes your personal brand impossible for AI to replicate? Did you know that 73% of LinkedIn content is now AI generated, yet engagement rates for human authored posts are 47% higher than AI content? When Kajabi's Travis Rosser pivoted from generic marketing advice to sharing his raw founder journey, including failures and mental health struggles, his personal brand engagement tripled. This shift from polished perfection to vulnerable authenticity created a moat that AI simply cannot cross. Today on How to Founder, we're going to be talking about your personal brand in the age of AI. I'm your host, Stephanie Hayes, and with me today is my pretty good co-host, Chris Franks. And we have an amazing guest who is a second timer on the show, Jason Barnard. The brand SERP guy is a globally recognized... I can't do two things at once. A globally recognized expert in digital brand strategy and personal branding. As CEO of Calicube, he's helped thousands reshape their online presence and dominated AI-driven search. Hello, Jason. Welcome back.
Jason, it's great to see you. Can you at least, because I don't think Stephanie has heard your episode, can you talk about your life as a voiceover artist before we even get started? And give us a couple of cartoons.
All right. Oh, you want the voices?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. Let's just start right off the bat. I know I'm right. It's the best content we have. Most people will drop after 5 minutes anyway. So we're going to lead with this.
Hello, everybody. My name is Booah. I'm a blue dog. That's the blue dog. Then his father was, hello, I'm Booah's father. It's lovely to meet you. And then I was my wife. My wife was, sorry, I wasn't my wife. My wife was a yellow koala. And I played the role of her father. Hello, it's lovely to be here. I'm Koala's father. And her grandfather. Hello, it's lovely to be here. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go and have a nap because I'm very old.
That's what I sound like. That's actually with just a lot less of a cool accent. That's just what I say. I'm very old and I need a nap.
What I don't think I told you, Chris, was why I became a voice actor.
I'm assuming you were unemployable in every other career function.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I left the folk punk band and became a cartoon blue dog. We moved to Mauritius with my wife. She was a yellow koala, I was a blue dog. And we realized after 2 years of creating content with just these two characters that we would need to create a family for them, because we ended up creating 1,000 interactive activities for children. We got 1 billion page views in 2007. We were competing with the BBC, with PBS, with Disney in terms of dominating the children's market online for multimedia edutainment, I think we called it. And so we created the families with the mothers and the fathers, the sisters and grandfather, grandmother. And then we started looking for voice talent, but we were living in Mauritius, which is a tropical island just off the coast of Madagascar. And we couldn't find any voice talent. So for a year, these two characters had their whole families around them, but the families never said anything because we didn't have any voiceover actors. And then one day I just decided I have to do this, even if I'm not very good at it, because we can't have their families wandering around and never saying anything.
I just like that the blue dog's dad just kind of sounds like an idiot, which is just how most dads are, Jason. Like, we're just kind of...
Oh, but he was a musician, so he kept going, "Shooby-dooby-dooby-doo."
This episode is
I'm sorry.
Like a left turn for sure.
Stephanie, I was going to say, I've completely derailed your episode, but in the best possible way. Now, I'd love to see how you're going to segue back to personal branding.
I knew a family who lived in Mauritius as well. It was super interesting to listen. They actually lived across the street from my parents. But your voiceovers and the characters you became were almost like you were replicating a brand identity, right?
Oh, well done on the transition. Identity. Very nice.
So we come back to, like, if you had AI back then, it would have really helped you build the identity of your doggy family. Yeah, I'm struggling.
No, in fact, well, the personal branding kind of aspect of it does come in really heavily because it was so successful and so popular with 1 billion page views, 60 million kids. We made a TV series that aired on Playhouse Disney. It was a huge success. And then I pivoted my career. I exited the company, pivoted my career. And when you search my name on Google, it said Jason Barnard is the voiceover artist for a cartoon blue dog. And that was a problem for business because I was presenting myself as a CEO, founder, entrepreneur, and digital marketer. And I realized at that point that I needed to change Google's perspective of me and how it represents me. So instead of talking about the blue dog, I talked about the fact that I was the CEO and the founder of Up to 10 Limited, the company, and that I signed deals with Disney, with ITV Studios, with Orange in France, with who else? Lagardère, and Samsung as well. And that was how I managed to change Google's perspective of me, by changing my own perspective and how I presented myself.
Okay, so back in the early days of the interwebs, because I've been around this world for a very long time as well, you could write a few blog posts and you'd be able to skew SEO. So now we've got all of these tools to build content for us and to create content for us, and we do have to do so at volume in order to really make some shifts. So where does the disconnect come in when we try to use AI to replicate or build our personal brand?
Ooh, well, there are two things there. Number one is volume isn't the most important thing when you're managing your personal brand. Volume, in fact, creates problems. The more you create, the more you then have to control. So the quality of what you're creating and the consistency of your brand narrative is what's important, not the volume. And as you say, with AI, if I start using Gemini, a vanilla Gemini, let's call it, or a vanilla ChatGPT, it won't sound like me. And when you know these tools that analyze your AI output and says this is human generated or AI, and they usually get it phenomenally wrong with anything that's even slightly well trained. One of the reasons that AI will recognize you is your vocabulary and the way you turn your phrases round. So if you're going to use AI, you have to get it to use we call it the lexicon, and you have to get it to create sentences with the structure that you would create. And very importantly, you have to feed it anecdotes. If you feed it anecdotes, it will drop anecdotes into the story, and then other AI thinks it's real because of what you said about the guy from Kajabi. Anecdotes make it seem real, whether it is or not.
73% of anecdotes make it seem real. Yeah.
Is that a real number, or do you just make it up as you went along? It sounds
AI,
like it.
Every stat that AI comes up with is 73% of something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
right. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, look, building a personal brand is pretty important as a founder, right? And it can definitely shift the trajectory of your business from a marketing perspective. You can use AI tools to help you build that personal brand, but you have to know where they come in handy and where they can actually, like, the overuse or maybe the underuse can actually harm your personal brand, because you read half the content that's getting posted out there and you're like, oh yeah, that was AI. And if you as a human being can tell that it's AI, then somebody's been lazy, right?
Yeah, I was sitting on the lawn in the sun in the south of France, just to make everyone feel jealous, with Google Discover, and I was just scrolling through articles, and I did it for about an hour. And after about an hour, I realized my brain had totally switched off, and it was just kind of washing through my brain, and it was all AI generated. It was all very vanilla. And that word is going to keep coming back. It's vanilla. AI is vanilla because the AI is creating content based on the next most probable word. It builds a sentence and then a paragraph and then an article based on what is the next most probable. And the only way you can stop it from being completely vanilla is to feed it things that are improbable, such as unique lexicon, anecdotes, and specific sentence structure that you tend to use. That's how you stop it being vanilla. And at Kalicube, for our clients, we build Gemini gems, which are assistant GPTs that are carefully trained on the lexicon that we build up for them, and their anecdotes and their sentence structure. And it comes pretty close, but it never gets it right. You still have to go in and correct it, however good your assistant GPT gets.
Chris, in all your travels, as whatever it is you've done in your life, those cute little jobs and stuff that you had, would you say that you have built a personal brand, and if so, how?
It's I would say that I've been pretty terrible at it, and I think that this is the point in time where, Jason, I think that this is even the first time we had a conversation, and really through the course of doing the podcast, my opinion has changed dramatically. I was the growth marketing guy. I was the math, not art. It was all about the perfect ad at the perfect time on the perfect platform to the perfect landing page. And it had nothing to do with me as a founder. I didn't want it to have to do with me as a founder. I wanted to do about product and what I was selling. And how I've evolved is in the world of AI, not personal branding, Jason, but in the world of AI is very good at marketing. You know why? It's trained off the internet. And you know what the internet is? 90% marketing. It's all marketing. And so it's trained off of millions and millions and billions of pages of marketing. And so where my perspective has changed is a personal brand is now incredibly important. And authenticity, I think that word authenticity becomes the key word. I think that being an authentic and real human being and talking about your experience as a founder, Stephanie, you've been preaching this from the beginning. It's just taken me, I'm a little slow. Also, Jason, I'm from Texas. I don't think we got any of that lexicon down there. I don't know. No, we ain't got no lexicon. I know that for sure.
I'm starting to like you, Chris. What you just said is really, really vital, and it makes me feel much better. Because yes, AI will write brilliant marketing. And I've been using it for Kalicube, and we've got significantly better at marketing by using AI, but it's the personal brand that makes the difference, that makes people trust and convert. And what I get now is people coming to the calls saying, I know what I want. I know you're the guy because I see you absolutely everywhere with that red shirt talking about personal brand AI and Google and how they represent you. My only question now is, how much does it cost? How long will it take? Those are good sales calls.
Yeah, those are great sales calls.
Do you have more than one red shirt?
Yeah,
No.
I actually went to a tailor in Thailand when I was at a conference, and I went in and said, "Can I have a red shirt?" And I asked him just to do the first 3 buttons, and he got really upset and said, "You have to have buttons all the way down, otherwise it's not a shirt." And I insisted, but he said, "No, I won't do it." I said, "Well, in that case, I'll take 3. Will you do it now?" And he said, "Yeah, okay." And so I got 3 done. They're exactly the same.
With just 3 buttons.
So I think we limit ourselves when we just think about, AI in personal brand development as about creating content, right? Like to me, like our AI tools have all this capability, and you can see this in these new like ecosystem agentic AI tools that are coming out, that there's like a whole lot more that the thinky part of AI can do to help us build a personal brand and be our thought partner, even if we are creating the content ourselves or whether our AI tools are doing that. I think a lot of people get stuck thinking AI is just ChatGPT writing them content. So how have you seen founders use other AI tools in other ways to really support their personal brand?
Well, I'm going to be very much like a politician here and completely not answer the question.
Well done.
Because
I'll get back to it. I'll get it eventually.
Okay, so you're going to turn into the real journalist. Brilliant. So what I actually wanted to do was kind of flip this over and say, well, yeah, we can create all this content, and we've talked about volume, we've talked about how to create tools to help us. But the big question is, how do we get that content and our personal brand in front of the right audience? And I think not enough people think about that. And obviously, you've got the traditional marketing. You go onto LinkedIn, you were talking about that earlier on, maybe YouTube, and hope that people are going to visit your website. But at Calicube, I'm completely obsessed by saying that ChatGPT, Google AI Mode, Google Search, Bing, Copilot, Perplexity are the biggest influencers in the world. They're having trillions of conversations with billions of people who trust them. And the real trick to get in front of your perfect audience is to get those machines to introduce you to the conversation they are having with a subset of their users who are your audience. We're having conversations with ChatGPT. It's getting us to the solution to our problem. And as a marketer and with your personal brand, you have to get yourself what we call top of algorithmic mind. So the machine keeps thinking, ooh, they're talking about AI optimization. Ooh, they're talking about search. They're talking about Google. They're talking about personal brands. Ooh, Jason Barnard, Calicube. It's that idea of top of algorithmic mind. And we talk in marketing about being top of mind all the way down the funnel. And if you think about it as top of algorithmic mind all the way down the funnel, you're hitting billions of people with trillions of niche conversations with a machine they trust. So that's smart marketing.
How does that look different than traditional SEO?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Now you are doing such a good job.
She's a hard-hitting journalist.
Yeah, well, she's actually crossing the ball over, setting it up for me perfectly to head in the net, which is what we say in football, English football, not American football.
It's not manipulation.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You're manipulating me. I'm happy. Right.
Yeah, well done. Good job. Good manipulation.
So AI engines are based on, all of them are based on 3 technologies. Search results, which we all know about. So you need to dominate or have good search results at passage level, but that's a long story. So they have search engines, they have LLM chatbots that allow them to have the conversation. And the search results allow the LLM, ChatGPT, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, to update the information that's out of date or find niche information they don't have. So if you ask an LLM about something it already knows, it just tells you. But if it doesn't already know it, it goes and looks it up online and then summarizes for you. So the LLM chatbot for the conversation, search results for the niche and up-to-date information, and then knowledge graphs for fact checking. And the knowledge graph is just a machine-readable encyclopedia like Wikipedia, but 20,000 times bigger. And we track that at Calicube. We track the knowledge graph, we track the search results, and we track the LLM chatbots. So those 3 technologies come together, and that's the difference. You can't just rely on search results anymore. You have to master the LLM, the search results, and the knowledge graph.
Okay. I want to shift gears for a second. We sort of started out talking about authenticity and how important that is in a personal brand. So, Chris, I'm curious, like, A, where have you seen this? And B, what do you think? What happens when authenticity clashes with professionalism? Which one wins and which one can really build that personal brand?
Is a very good question. And I think that this really does come down to your comfort level of being a founder. But for me, the moment when everything changed is when I stopped trying to be like my image of what a successful founder entrepreneur was, like projecting like I needed to dress a particular way, wanted to talk a particular way, etc., and just started being authentically me. And the thing when it changed, Stephanie, is when I started talking about failure and started talking about not just the good things, because if you do this job, you're going to fail a lot. And so it's about your comfort level. But I will tell you, I would absolutely encourage anybody, the more transparent you can be, you get to keep things back. You don't have to talk about every bit of your life, but the more transparent you can be about your journey, your professional journey, and the good and the bad, we all share those experiences. I think to Jason's point, that's not something that a chatbot can really replicate. It's not what AI can replicate. Your genuine experience and the emotions and struggles and joy that goes along with that, that's something that's very, very real. And I would say you're terrific at this, Stephanie. So I want to get it back to you as well, because you've taught me a lot on this subject. How do you approach it?
I think your turning point was when you started dressing as a German barmaid, and it was very authentic. And I think a lot of people.
It's just who I am inside, Stephanie. It's
exactly.
Who I am
yeah.
inside.
Oktoberfest all year long.
It's all year long. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I think. So go ahead, Jason.
No. He asked you the question, then I'll come in with my 2 cents.
Oh yeah, what? So you go ahead. You answer the question. I'd like to hear your perspective.
No. Well, it was actually to do with that authenticity. I mean, people saying authentic, it's kind of one of those vacuous words that no longer mean anything because everybody uses it so much and it doesn't actually mean anything anymore. A bit like holistic SEO strategy, holistic digital marketing strategy, because of its overuse, it stops meaning anything. But the authenticity side of things is, as you said, just be you. And I had an experience a few weeks ago. I joined Entrepreneur Organization, which is full of entrepreneurs who make lots of money. And I kind of feel a bit, I don't know, out of my depth, maybe because I was a cartoon blue dog. I don't really feel I'm a legitimate entrepreneur. And yet I've had 3 companies. Sorry.
It's very authentic.
Yeah, I mean, but that's actually, yeah. And you start to probably realize most of those people were jealous of your story, like, because you got to do it.
Well, the thing that struck me was that I went up to Paris for an entrepreneur organization forum meeting. And I was sitting with the people and I didn't really feel that comfortable. And then somebody said, when did you get here, Jason? Because I traveled to Paris. And I said, I got here at 7 in the morning. And they said, but you come from the south of France. That's weird. Why would you get here at 7 in the morning? I said, I took the night train. And they said, you're mad. Why would you take the night train? I said, because it's fun. It was just an idea. I was wondering what it'd be like to take the night train, sleep overnight, traveling across France, then wake up. And I really wanted to take a shower at Gare d'Austerlitz at Paris, because they've just opened up the showers for people who come in on the night train in first class. And so they all kind of laughed. And then somebody said, well, when are you leaving? And I said, well, I've got the night train back at 8 p.m. And they all just fell about laughing. And that was the moment I realized that I could just be me. I don't have to pretend to be the entrepreneur that I think people want me to be or expect me to be. And it was a lovely moment. And I mean, the whole thing now, of course, is Jason is this mad person who gets the night train up, has lunch, has a meeting, and gets the night train back because he thinks it's fun. And they said, but you're going to be really tired. And I said, well, if I am, I just won't do it again.
But so this authenticity is all about, and I also struggle with the term because it's become almost a little bit meaningless. But whatever authenticity means to you, it's about finding something that, like, in the early days of sort of these online creators, I remember there was one big online creator, and she talked about all the time, like she had her stuff, but she also talked about mac and cheese all the time. And that was her thing. And everybody knew her, could remember her because it was a bit of an outlier, right? It was something a little bit different. I have a community of about 900 freelancers and virtual assistants that are part of our program and our membership. And I will say, like, we do a lot of posting in the community. We do a lot of relevant posts. And then one day I posted about my daughter getting her driver's license. Most engagement of anything, like ever. People just want to know you. They want to know who you are as a person. And I think that is getting more and more and more true about founders and about organizations. People want to relate to something. They want to have an emotional connection. And I really struggle to find that balance of I'm not going to put my whole life out on the internet, but you don't have to, right? It's not about, it's about the things that are meaningful to you. And it's the number one thing people want is to be known and to know others. And I think that that's getting more and more and more of a demand from customers, no matter what you're selling. I'm in the services business, so it is particularly more relevant to us because people want to hire someone that they feel like they know. But being known is just as important. And when you can relate, and even if you never ever meet face to face or in a personal way, feeling like there's some type of knowing behind a brand, I think is extremely important today.
Can I ask a question? Because I think this is the heart of this struggle, which is, you've been experienced, you've been around the block a couple of times. It's easier to be authentic. It's easier to show up and you realize that there is no secret cabal of business professionals. There's just a bunch of people like you, everybody in the world. There's no room where all the decisions are made. But everything that you've learned to this point in your career, particularly as a founder, is about pretending to be somebody that you're not. And we show up and say, don't do that. Actually be yourself. It's almost a paradox, isn't it? It's almost this idea that you as a founder, and almost every founder I know, has some sort of imposter syndrome. And so how do you overcome that imposter syndrome? Well, I'm going to act like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or some great founder that I know. But yet every bit of the management research says leadership is just about being yourself, about embracing what makes you different, unique, and special. I know it's a little bit of a left field question, particularly as we're talking about SEO, but Jason, I'd love to get your take, and then Stephanie, yours as well, because it's a really difficult hurdle, I think, for most founders.
Well, I've never had any kind of particular problem answering a question. You ask me a question, I will always answer. I'm like this 12-year-old child who, if I know the answer, I go, ooh, I know the answer to that. So if you ask me a question, I will always say the answer. And I've always been authentic up until this point when I thought, I better become an entrepreneur because I better start running a company that.
Yeah, you're a punk musician. There's nothing more authentic than being a punk, right? So
but I'm coming back to embracing that.
You to authenticity, right?
Folk punk.
Yeah. Folk punk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually punk folk, because if you think about punk folk becomes poke.
Dominant.
well, no. If you say funk, funk. Folk punk. It's funk, and that doesn't make sense. I was getting really confused. But the thing for me is, what I find is that people come on sales calls or come into business meetings, and the red shirt immediately gets the conversation going. It's a really, really nice trick. But also the fact that when people ask me, how did you get here? When did you get here? And I just tell them I came on the night train, has broken down or breaks down barriers. And I regret now the full 6 months when I wasn't answering questions like that authentically, if I dare say. And I do truly believe in being who you are and allowing that to move your business forwards. So yeah, I agree 100%. But with AI, the really important thing is you need to decide what stories you're telling, because otherwise you're going to confuse the poor little machine. Because, for example, with me, you've got punk folk, You've got Cartoon Blue Dog. You've got WTPL Music. I was CEO and founder. Up to 10 Limited, CEO and founder. CaliCube, CEO and founder. It's starting to get complicated. And then I wrote a book. And then I've made albums, music albums, and I made a TV series, and I'm a voiceover actor, and I'm a screenwriter. Naturally, AI and Google are going to think that's 9 or 10 different people. And getting them to understand that it's all the same person is really difficult. And then the second problem is once it's said, okay, this guy's done 10 different things and it could potentially be 10 people, but now I understand it's one, what does it do with the ice hockey player in Canada, the professor in America, the circus clown in South Africa? That could be me too.
I think it should.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it should be too, but it's not. And so you've got this kind of problem where you're saying, I'm trying to unify multiple facets of one person that could potentially be lots of different people, whilst disambiguating from people who aren't me. And that's the hardest thing to AI-proof your personal brand in search. And
it's such a good point. And I want to ask you one last question before we move on to the speed round. But like, here's my hot take on using AI to support your personal brand is that we don't teach our agents enough, right? We kind of take what it gives us and go, oh, well, it just, because I'm the same way. I've got all these different businesses. I do all these different things. And AI goes, what do I focus on? How do I even do this? But with a little bit of teaching, right, I can help it to understand who I am and just, with conversations. So what are we not doing yet that is going to help us in leveraging these tools to be able to support us as a multifaceted brand?
Well, from creating a content perspective, one thing that people don't do enough is clean up. So, for example, you have a conversation with your AI assistant, your ChatGPT, your Gemini, whatever it is, and there are going to be misunderstandings and things that you say that are no longer true today that were true 2 weeks ago. You need to delete all of that stuff that isn't true, because otherwise it will keep spitting it back out. And that's something people don't do, is clean up after themselves. And the other thing they don't do is look at the output and ask the AI, how can I improve the instructions I give you, given that the answer you just gave me is incorrect or unsatisfactory for X, Y, Z reason? And the AI will tell you, okay, if you frame it this way, it's going to be better next time. So I've spent a lot of time talking with vanilla Gemini to say, okay, I just asked my Gemini Gem that I trained this question. Here are the instructions I gave it. This is the answer it gave. This is why I don't think it was satisfactory. What can I do to improve its instructions? And it works so well. After about 5 or 6 iterations, you get something that is really powerful. And you don't do it in your AI because your AI is biased towards things it already knows about you and the things you've told it to do. You use a vanilla one that has no preconceived idea, and it's simply trying to help you improve the performance of your assistant.
Yeah, I've been using an agentic ecosystem recently that I just started using, and this is sort of fascinating me. But what it does is it allows you to create all these different brains. So it allows you to feed the brain for, Stephanie Hayes, exit and growth strategist, with all the things you want to feed it. And then I've been using new brains for each of my clients, and then feeding it all of the things that it needs to know so it doesn't mix everything up, right? And that's just like this next layer of super interesting evolution, I think, of all of these tools. Chris, giving you a chance.
Just to say what you're calling brains is what I'm saying assistant GPT and Gemini Gems. So just to clarify for everybody, we're talking about the same thing. And it is incredibly powerful because I create one for pretty much every part of my work and my different clients. 100%. I'm super chuffed, as we say.
The next evolution, I think, is to help people understand how to create these brains. Chris, last sort of call for your comments. Your being the old guy around here and having been through this before AI was even a thing. And I think you and I are only a couple of years apart, aren't we?
Yeah, you're 2 years older than me, Stephanie. I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, I'm 26. I just look this way because I'm the founder for this long time.
What's your hot take on all of this stuff?
I really like everything we're talking about. I think that there's one question that I have remaining, which is the mechanics, Jason. So we talked a little bit about this last time in the episode, but let's say that I now use my AI, a gentle AI, which I think is brilliant, to help come up with a really good position. I make sure I go and I clean up things that are not necessarily true about myself. And now I have an authentic story that I want to tell. How we build this story is a different episode. But I have this story I want to tell. Mechanically, do I go out and post blog posts? Is it LinkedIn? Is it podcast? What are the mechanics now to go start presenting my true, authentic personal brand to the world?
Oh, which is an amazingly good question, because that is how you AI proof your personal brand. Is you create your own personal website that represents you. Because all of the AI, Google, Copilot, ChatGPT, Perplexity, are looking for what we call the entity home. Google call it the point of reconciliation. The geeks call it the canonical website for the entity. And you put your story on that website, and that website becomes your version of your truth. And then you go around the web and you make sure that everything about you online corroborates that story. And you link from the website to the corroboration, from the corroboration back to the website, and the machines just go back and forth, see the same story, and then they will repeat what you want, because they see the same story over and over. They know where to find the story. They see that everybody else corroborates and confirms what you're saying. They see a consistent message, and they have no choice but to repeat it. And once they've understood that that is your entity home, and that's where they need to look for information, and they trust you, you can get them to change your brand narrative the way you want over time. That's how you AI proof yourself. Personal website that the AI understands is the source of information about you from you.
All right. Awesome conversation.
That was very
Probably
serious,
talk
wasn't it?
for another hour. Jason, are you emotionally ready for the speed round?
Yeah, I think I've got to calm down a little bit from that little bit of overexcitement of the geeky stuff of what you need to do. So yes.
Yeah. Let's do some breathing exercises, and then we'll jump into the speed round. Yeah.
Good to go.
You good, Chris?
Unreal. Let's do it. Let's go.
It really is sort of stress-inducing that. Okay, Jason, let's do it. Share vulnerable failures to build trust, or maintain polished perfection to project competence?
Share vulnerable stories, because if you ask me, I can't help but tell you the truth.
Okay. Create unique content that takes time, or use AI to scale generic messaging faster?
A mix of the two. Use AI to help yourself move forwards, to give you ideas. Don't trust it to actually reflect your voice. Spend the time to rewrite it. When I write an article, I'll get the AI to spit it out, but I rewrite the entire thing. So instead of taking me 5 hours, it takes me 2 or 3 hours, and that's a great win.
Okay. Focus on personal story differentiation, or optimize for search algorithm preferences?
Focus on your own story. Make sure you've got it clear in your own head before you start to distribute it. And once you distribute it, make sure that the machines can understand and digest it. Otherwise, they won't repeat it.
Okay. Build niche expertise depth, or cast a wide net for maximum reach?
Deep expertise, niche, right down the line. I had a client the other day who said to me, "Oh, you can't help me because I'm too niche." There isn't too niche. If you have a business where you can make money in an incredibly tight, small niche, of course it will work in Google and AI. It's a question of your business model. If your business model will function in a tiny niche, then it will work in AI. And AI and Google appreciate incredible nicheness. And this isn't very speed, is it? I'm being too long.
No. It's lack of speed round.
No, Stephanie's just looking at me going, shut up.
All the words.
No, I only look at Chris like that. Sometimes Anthony. Okay, invest in long form authentic content, or prioritize quick viral AI generated posts?
I wouldn't do either. particularly do long form content or AI viral stuff. I do medium form content that tells the story I need to tell in the number of words I need. I think the obsession with long form content is an old SEO trick that we should all forget. Write the content the length it needs to be to project the message you need without wasting anybody else's time.
Yeah, I'm a long form content writer. That's just what comes out of me, right? Like I try to do short, but I just can't. It's just what comes naturally. Okay, Chris, founder fundamentals. What do you got?
Really good stuff today. I like the very first thing we talked about is you get to own your narrative. You get to decide what your story is going to be, and start with this idea of how you want to perceive and what story you want to tell. Big props if you can be more authentic. AI can help you, but you need to manage your AI. Feed it anecdotes. You need to go in and clean up things that are not true, and then use a gentle AI. Ask AI how to improve the instructions. Authenticity, for lack of a better word, we all hate that word, but let's just use it because we don't have a better one, is everything. AI can never replicate your unique perspective, wisdom, and experience. This is hard. You're going to have to lead with vulnerability. You're going to have to be yourself. The SEO world is now all about being a human being. Like, you now have to show up as a human. Don't just throw out AI content. And then tactically create your own website that's your hub and link all other posts back to that website. Very good stuff. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Deep dive resources. We've got the fundamentals of brand SERPs for business by Jason Barnard and building a story brand by Donald Miller. Anything else you might recommend, Jason, as some good reading?
Download the free guides. Kalicube.com. Kalicube.com/guides. KALICUBE.com/guides. And there are 8 or 9 guides, 60 pages each, and they explain everything you need to do.
Oh, awesome.
So we give it all away for free. My personal opinion is that we all have an existential responsibility to ourselves to manage our personal brand, whether we need it or not in AI, because it will misrepresent us if we don't, and that everybody has that right. And so you download the guide, knock yourselves out, go and do it yourself. We're giving it away for free because we found the universal future-proof solution that manages those 3 technologies: search engines, knowledge graphs, and LLM chatbots. Please take the content free. It will help you and you will be happy.
Awesome. I'm going to go totally nerd out on that. Yeah, that's good. Brilliant. Okay. Awesome discussion today. Super fun. Jason, where can we learn more about you?
If I were you, I'd ask ChatGPT or Google AI Mode or Perplexity, who is Jason Barnard and why should I like him?
Okay. In the red shirt. Not the one that's the clown in Brazil.
No.
No. All right. Chris, you want to take us home?
That's great. Also, for the record, there's a Chris Franks that's a professional soccer player and a professional bass fisherman. I've got a lot to compete with out there. I mean, the professional bass fisherman, he's SEOing like you wouldn't believe.
Stephanie Hayes has done nothing of value. So
that's pretty good. Really appreciate your time, Jason. It is a great conversation as always. Please, please, please come back anytime. You always add a tremendous amount of value for us. We appreciate it. And for all of you, thank you for listening. It is genuinely humbling and inspiring to see how many people are actually listening to our little foolishness. We deeply care about you as founders. We know how hard this is, and we know how important your role is in our society. Anthony wrote a little tagline. He says, "You are the pioneers of economic prosperity." I don't really know what it means. It just means you guys are awesome. So keep being awesome. Go be awesome. And if you like what we're doing, just like and subscribe. Maybe on YouTube, maybe on Spotify, one of those places. And we will see you next time, next Monday on How to Founder.